Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Brittany, and in today's video I wanted to talk to you guys about my must-have makeup brushes because that's what everybody's always asking me about. What brushes I like, what brands I recommend, all that sort of shit, so we're going to cover all of that today. So if you guys want to see what my must-have makeup brushes are, let's jump right in and let's do this! Alright, so the first brushes that I'm going to start with are my face brushes because typically that's what I apply first is my face product. So I'll start with face brushes, then I'll work our way to eye brushes, but I will leave timestamps down below if you are interested in just skipping right to eye brushes. So first what I'm going to talk about is my number one brush. It's probably my most expensive brush. No, second most expensive brush. But this is the brush that I feel like everybody could get use out of this, and you could do your entire face with this one brush. So this is going to be the Sephora 55 brush. My shape of mine is a little bit wonky because the way that I tried it last time. But the Sephora 55 brush is the brush that I typically use for dusting away all of my excess powder, or if I'm setting my face with a pressed powder. But when I say that people could use this for their entire face, like you could literally contour, bronze, blush, highlight if you wanted to. It's all in how you position the brush. But this is just that one brush that I feel like you could do everything with. So if you're willing to spend a little bit more, this is a $34 brush, so it is pretty expensive. But this is the one brush, like if you wanted just one, this would be the one that I would reach for. Or I would suggest this brush right here. This is going to be the Morphe E3. This is another brush that I happen to love. I use this a lot for bronzer if I'm not using the next brush that I'm going to talk about, but this is usually my bronzer brush or my blush brush, or I'll use it for both. It really depends on how I'm feeling today, but this is definitely a must-have for me because I do reach for it quite often, but my next brush is going to be my favorite for bronzer. But this is another brush. You could use it for your entire face. It is less expensive than the $34. I want to say this is like $12 or $15. So it's definitely more affordable. This is from Morphe. I know some people feel a certain type of way about Morphe. I happen to love Morphe brushes. I am not affiliated with them whatsoever, but I just love their brushes. So Morphe E3 is another one that I would suggest for an all-over face powder, or just the one-stop shop that you want only one brush and it can do everything. So those are the two brushes I would recommend for that. Now we'll move into my favorite bronzer brush, and that is going to be this Crown Brushes SS023 Jumbo Kabuki Fan Brush. I got this in one of my BoxyCharms. I think it was like August or November of last year, and I've used this ever since. It is just the perfect shape for me to get on my forehead. It just bronzes everything to perfection. No matter what bronzing powder I use, this is just the one that it does me so right. This one I can tend to get heavy-handed with, so I don't reach for it as much as this one. This one, it just blends it out perfectly. It just makes it effortless, and the fact that I paid $20 or $21 for the BoxyCharm box and got this bomb-ass brush, I love it. All of these brushes I'm going to say are super soft, stuff like that. So this brush again is super soft. It just blends out everything. It's what I use for my bronzer today. It just blends out everything to perfection, so I love this one for my bronzer. Next one up we'll talk about is my favorite contour brush. I have two of them because they are dupes for one another. I talked about this in one of my recent videos, but my new favorite is going to be the Nars Ita Brush for my contour. Before I was using this Amazon brush, I got it for $4. This is a $55 brush. This is the most expensive brush that I have. So I started originally with this Amazon brush. I fell in love with it. I've tried this one first because I didn't know if I really liked the precise shape of it. I thought it would be too harsh for me, but I feel like it really works. Like if you want to lose like 10 pounds in 5 seconds, this is the brush that you want because it contours the shit out of your face. It blends it out perfectly. Like it doesn't make it too harsh. It just blends it out so nice. Or it just makes it super easy. Like if you're chiseling out your jawline, it just makes it so easy to feather it so it doesn't give that harsh line. So I would definitely suggest the Nars Ita brush, but if you are unsure about if you're going to like the design of it or anything like that, I would definitely recommend getting the Amazon one first. But I will tell you this, but the more that I used it, the more that I noticed like the bristles are kind of going like, it's losing its shape, and the bristles are falling out, and it's getting very harsh on my skin. So that's where I was like, okay, maybe I should get the Nars Ita brush. And then I got that coupon, so I was just like, okay, it's time to buy the Nars Ita brush. So I picked this one up. I will tell you guys now, the shape of it is a lot nicer. It's not quite as like all over the place. It does keep a very nice shape. It does have very soft bristles. I freaking love this. I used it once and I instantly fell in love. I haven't touched this one since. So I would recommend if you're new to the shape of this or a beginner with makeup, get the $4 one. But if you're experienced with makeup and if you just want a nice easy contour. That's another thing. If you struggle with contour, this brush makes it so fucking easy, it's ridiculous. Like, all you do, I start at the top of my ear, I blend down, and then I flip the brush sideways, I blend it this way, or if I'm going in my jawline, I will blend it just like this, and then I will feather it down my neck. It just makes contouring so freaking easy, it's ridiculous. So that's another reason that I love this brush, and I feel like a lot of people would benefit from it because it just makes it so easy. These are definitely favorites, must-have. Nars Ita Brush is my must-have. This one, I would repurchase it if I needed one, or if I needed like a backup in my freelance kit. I would definitely repurchase the Amazon one as well. But the Nars Ita Brush has definitely stolen my heart since I got that one, just because of how soft it is and it doesn't irritate my skin like the Amazon one does. So those are it for my contour must-haves. So the next brush that I want to talk about is what I use for highlight, but it's more of like the under eye highlight, my forehead. Basically all the areas that I set my concealer. This is going to be the Morphe E48 brush. This resembles a lot the Kat Von D, like the dual-ended shade and light brush, but I hate dual-ended brushes because I hate storing them. So then as soon as I saw this one, I picked it up because I love setting my under eye with this brush. They have one other one, I have it as well, but this is the one I always reach for. It has more of a tapered point to it. I like this one because it's still fluffy and it doesn't emphasize the pigment so much. Like, it gives me the perfect amount of brightening with my powders, and it just fits really nicely in my under eye area, fits on my forehead nice. It's not too big, it's not too small. It's just perfect for what I need it for. That is one of my highlighting brushes, and now I'll get into my other highlighting brushes, which is for this beaming ass highlight. There's two differences, okay? So I picked two because I flop between these two all the time, so I would consider them both must-haves. The first one will be the Morphe Y14. This brush I really like because it just fits right on my cheekbone so nicely, and it blends it out perfectly and stuff like that. But the one that I probably reach for more is going to be the Morphe M504 brush. I just love how it picks up the product, it disperses the product, it fits right on my cheekbone. It just gives it, like, instead of that really intense sharp line, it just blends it out perfectly. So this is what I used for my cheekbone today. And it's like I don't know how people use fan brushes. It gets everywhere when I use a fan brush. This gives me a precise enough application so it goes exactly where I want it to, but it doesn't make it go all over the place, if you know what I mean. So I really like this just for my cheekbone, my cupid's bow, the tip of my nose. It just gives me the perfect highlight, so I really do love these. If I was to pick one or the other, it would definitely be the M501. I like that it has a longer handle. Like, that's the only downfall about these gilded brushes, is the handle is so short on them. Like, I like to hold my brush towards the end of it. It gives me a lighter hand, and with these ones, I feel like I can't control it as much. So that's why I do like to have a longer handle on my brushes, so I would pick the M501 brush over that one if I were to pick between the two, but I love both of them. So next one I'll talk about, and my last face brush, will be my blush brush, and this is going to be my Morphe E4 brush. I don't know what it is about this. I feel like it just applies the blush perfectly to my cheeks, and then I always apply most of the blush right here, and then I will blend it back above the contour and bronzer. So it just kind of blends everything together so nicely. The perfect shape for me, like I said, I start right here and it just blends back, and it just has the perfect shape. So I really love this for blush. I could definitely get away with using the E3 or the Sephora 55 brush, but I just like having that designated blush brush. So Morphe E4, and Morphe is so affordable, so it's like I didn't feel so bad spending on more brushes. So that is going to be it for face brushes. Now we'll move on to eye brushes, and I keep it basic as shit for eye brushes because I don't really do much with my eyes on a regular basis. It's like a rarity. Like, this is a Valentine's Day look, so I did a little bit more. But I will show you guys like my basics. These are my bitches. These are the ones that I ride or die. Like, I use them every day. Let's get into it. So the first ones, you can pick one or the other. I wanted to mention both of these because they are very similar. So the first one is going to be the Morphe M532 brush, and then the other one is going to be the Morphe M504 brush. They are both extremely similar. If I was to pick between the two, I would pick the Morphe M532 just because this is literally identical to what the Sigma E40 is supposed to be. You know, the Sigma E40 that we used to hear fucking everything about on YouTube? That Sigma E40. This is identical to that. It's half the price. And when I got the Sigma E40, it was not good. Like, I got it and I'm like, why do people like this so much? I could not understand it. As soon as I saw this come out, I saw the perfect shape. Like, this is my go-to crease brush. I freaking love it for my all over. Like, if I just need like a blown out color, this is the one that I reach for. Or I will go in with the next two brushes. These are, again, they're so damn similar that I had to mention both. So one is going to be the Morphe M433 and the other will be the Morphe R39. So one is from the Rose Gold collection, one is from just the basic collection, or like the pro, I don't even know. It's just like the pro collection, I think. But if I was to pick between these two, it would be the Morphe R39. So that's the one we'll talk about. But they're so damn similar, like if you have one or the other, or just a preference on if you want rose gold or silver, whichever. But I personally like rose gold. I mean, come on, rose gold, yes. So I really like this one for also in my crease, but it's to get like a more precise application, and it just applies a little bit more pigment than the original one that I talked about, the Morphe M504. So this one more or less gives me like that blown out, like a dust of color. This one is the one that I could use to really intensify the color. So I like to follow the M532 with the R39. Like I'll go in my crease, blow out the color, go in, and then I'll almost like push the color in and then blend it out just to give it a nice gradient and give it a little bit more depth. So those are like my ride or die brushes. Like I could do a full look with just this brush. Like if I was to get rid of all of my brushes and just pick one eye brush, it would be the Morphe R39 because it can do everything. It's just like that Sephora 55. Like if I needed to go under my eye, I can go under my eye. If I needed to hit that inner corner, I can do that. If I need a freaking smoke out, blowout, intense ass look, this will do that. So I love this brush. This is my #1 brush, but now we'll get into my other ones. And the next one I'll talk about is my MAC 242 brush, which is the one that I always go to if I need to cut a crease or if I'm applying my metallic shades. This is my brush. I actually need to get a second one because I'm sick of putting the concealer on there, having to clean it off, and then go back and go into the color. It just creates a whole process. I just need a second one. But MAC brushes are incredibly expensive. Like, it's kind of hard to justify it, but I have yet to find a Morphe brush or any other brush that is this good. Like, this just has, like, it doesn't really look like it, like you would get a nice precise application with it, but you do. Like, especially when you're cutting a crease with concealer, this, it just makes it effortless. Like this, it just applies everything so nicely. So I really love this for packing on my shadows or cutting my crease. And then I also do love this Sigma Concealer F70 brush, I think. This is another one. It's very similar to the 242, but I use both of them. This is like the two that I go between, but I would definitely pick my MAC 242 over the Sigma one because the Sigma one is a little bit heavy. I don't know what it is. It's a little bit heavy, which kind of makes you feel nice, like, because they are a little bit more expensive as well. Not like MAC expensive, but it's like you feel like you're getting your money's worth, you know what I mean? So I would definitely recommend both of these, but if I was to pick one or the other, it'd be the MAC 242 for sure. So next what I'm going to talk about is the brush that I go in underneath my liner. This is going to be the Morphe M432. This is just a basic ass flat definer brush. You could use any, like I feel like any brand at this point has just a basic ass flat definer brush. So this is just the one I like to go in under my eye. I like to set my liner so it doesn't move, or just like today I have that brown shade under there right underneath the pink. It's just nice, intense color. This packs it on and it's so precise. It gets you a nice straight line, so I really like this one. And then if I'm blending it out or if I want to smoke out my lash line, I will go in with the Morphe E36. So you guys could see, I like my Morphe Elite collection. That is like the one collection, if I was to tell you guys to get a collection, that would be the one to get. But we'll talk about this real quick and then we'll get on to other collections. So the Morphe E36, I really like this for blending out my under eye. I like to apply my inner corner and my brow bone highlight with this. I could do a lot with this brush, so I really like this. Or if I just need a little bit more pigment on my outer corner, boom, 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 done deal. So that's why I really like that brush. So that is it for my must-have makeup brushes. Now, I wanted to get into probably the most common question I have with brushes. People always say, Brittany, I'm looking to buy a makeup brush collection. Which one would you get? Okay, I just said Morphe Elite collection. But the downside with the Morphe Elite collection is they don't sell them as a collection. They sell them all individually. So me personally, I don't like to buy collections because I feel like 95% of the time, I don't use half of the brushes that come in a collection. So I personally would rather buy individual brushes. But the one brush collection I would suggest you get, actually there's two I would choose for them. The first one would be the Morphe Gilded collection. I don't have every brush. I did buy these individually because, like I said, there were brushes I knew I would not use and I wanted to save some money. So I would suggest a lot of these brushes are excellent. I do really like the eye brushes in this collection. The face brushes are definitely growing on me. At first I didn't like them at all, but the more that I use them, I'm really starting to like them. So I would definitely recommend these. But if I was to pick one brush collection to purchase as a first time buyer, it would be the Morphe collection with Jaclyn Hill. I'm hoping they still have it because I'm mentioning it, but that collection was so fire. Like, I think I have every brush in that collection, and I would 100% recommend everything in that collection. So if you're a first-time buyer or looking to really invest in your tools, that would be the one I would say. Get the Morphe times Jaclyn Hill one. It's just like the Jaclyn Hill favorites. That one is 1000% worth it. And a lot of people are probably watching this and being like, I don't want to spend that much money on brushes. Like, this is the biggest tip that I could give any makeup beginner or anybody that's looking to learn with makeup. Your brushes are your most important tool. They're what applies everything. If you have good brushes, you can make shit products look good. That's just the reality of it. At least that's my experience with it. Your brushes are the thing that matters. Like, I could have the worst eyeshadow palette, but if I have good brushes, I can make that eyeshadow work. But if you have a shit eyeshadow palette and shit brushes, it's just gonna turn out a hot mess. So I would definitely suggest spend your money, invest in brushes. That is probably the biggest piece of advice that I always give people, is invest in your brushes. Like, it all starts with your skincare, but then after skincare, it comes from your brushes. That's just the reality of it, at least based on my experience. But that is going to be it for my must-have makeup brushes. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any brushes that you recommend or any other brands that you recommend, because you guys saw that I do use a lot of Morphe, I really want to get into Smith brushes, like Smith Cosmetics. I keep hearing such amazing things about them. Those are the ones I'll probably go into next. But if there's any other brands that you guys like, please leave them in the comments down below. Leave your guys' favorites in the comments as well. Let's get a little chit chat going on. But those are all my favorites. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys in my next one. Peace!